Now you can go do a watch party and then come
So I'm
back and
gonna get on your page.
yep,
I'm gonna share
yep.
and then start watch together with friends or group. There you go.
Okay, now come back into the video. Hey y'all bear with me. I'm getting it set up real quick. There you go. Say man, I want to welcome y'all to a special edition of the War Zone. It's a late night edition, but that's okay because you know me, ain't no sleeping in the clique that I'm in until the paper's made. That's all I can say. Hold on a second. Uh, make sure
Check
I
to
got
see
this
if you
thing
see a
up.
watch
There
party.
we go. All right, I know y'all been watching.
Hey y'all bear with me.
Hold on. I know y'all been watching. I'm up in Lafayette, Louisiana, and I'm up here for a good reason. Good dude. Good dude from what I'm hearing. And what was his name, Tara?
Trayford Pellerin.
Trayford Pellerin was murdered by the Lafayette Police Department. I think it was last Friday that he was murdered. Um,
Yes.
and ever since then, the community has been trying to get justice, which in this case, justice is the officers charged and the city of Lafayette to do the right thing. Well, I met this young lady a couple of days ago on Facebook, and she reached out to me, and we kind of connected, and she decided that earlier yesterday that she would go and barbecue on city property in front of the mayor president's house. And of course, when I called and trying to find out where she was, she told me she was there. Nobody was there, and I'm like, okay, well, I ain't gonna let her be out there by herself. So I'm like, okay, I'm on my way. And from that point, can you tell the people what actually happened?
From today, yeah, I decided that we were gonna go, that I was gonna go and invite some of my community to join in with me. I was going to barbecue hamburgers and hot dogs, something quick, and hope to invite the mayor out since he doesn't want to come in our neighborhood, in our side of town, to talk with us about what's happened with Trayford and the issues that we have in our community. I decided to take it to his side of town and meet him on his turf. And so I'm there, and um, some of my community is saying that they're on their way. It rained today, so people were kind of slow coming in. I was speaking to the news media. You arrived, you spoke to them. Um, Carlos Harvin, who is the chief officer of minority affairs, he came. And he knew what I was doing, what my plans were, because he had checked on me earlier that day when he called me, and I invited him to come. And he said, well, maybe we can get Josh out and actually speak to the community, whoever shows up. And I'm like, that's the purpose of it.
So
That's the
Carlos
purpose.
actually knew that you were going.
Oh yeah, because whenever he called me this morning, his first thing was, "So, you still doing your barbecue today?" And I just told him, "Are you asking because you're concerned, or you want to try to get in the business?" And he said, "No, no, I'm concerned, and because if you are, I'd like to be able to attend. I'd like to feel like I'm invited, and if possible, be able to speak, because I want the community to know that I'm there for them." And I'm like, Carlos, you haven't even spoken out yet. You haven't spoken out in the last 3 or 4 months that we've been fighting to keep our 4 recreational centers open in District 5 while all the other ones are staying open, but ours were threatened to be closed. I said, our community feels like you have turned your back on us. So he's like, well, and I would like to be able to fix that. I understand the concerns. I'd like to be able to address whoever comes out. You know what, Carlos, if that's what you want to do, I invite you to come. Get you a hamburger, get you a hot dog or whatever, and let's find some common ground. So he did show up, and within 2 minutes after he was there, his phone rings. And as he walks away, he's like, "Okay, Mayor, yeah, I understand. I hear you." And then he jumps in his vehicle and he goes ghost. He disappears. Carlos Harvin is now gone. And within a minute or two after that, 4 or 5 police cars drive up and try to tell me that I'm breaking the law, that the barbecue pit that I put in the road behind my truck, pointed in the right direction of traffic on the side of the road, away from driveways, away from cross streets, that I am obstructing traffic and that I have to move my pit. So I suggested to the officers that I put it in the back of my truck. No, that's a hazard. Can I put it on the sidewalk then? No, you can't do that. That's still obstructing traffic. Okay, well, then how about the grass between the sidewalk and the street? That's trespassing. How is it trespassing, officer? This is neutral ground. And then after I said that, the officer calls out 1015 and tells me I'm under arrest. It's on my live feed. You can go see it. And Carlos left me out there knowing that the police were coming. The mayor, Josh Guillory, called Carlos probably to tell him to hurry up and leave because the police were coming. And
Has the
he's
mayor
supposed
ever addressed the community in regards to this actual shooting?
he was questioned during a press conference a few days ago in regards to um, calling Trayford the individual and not even saying his name. And all our city mayor, parish president did was say, "Well, I guess I could have handled that better. Next question." And you can find that on KATC's website, Channel 3. In fact, our mayor, parish president didn't even have enough within him, enough compassion to even call Trayford Pellerin's mom. He made a secretary do it to send his condolences. He didn't even make the phone call himself. Until the last couple of days, Trayford was considered, out of Josh Guillory's mouth, the individual, and basically stating that he had a knife and basically criminalizing him before my community has even seen body cam footage. And y'all
Well,
can pull up his name.
why do you think they won't release the body cam footage of this shoot?
They're saying that the state police are investigating it, that the state police have the body camera footage, that they have the security footage from the Circle K, and I guess until they're ready to release it, we won't see it. And all this really has done now, even more so, because we're in Louisiana, it's caused even more of a racial divide. We just want
Now,
transparency and accountability.
now I know that there's some concerns about out of town people being, coming into town. They want to label me as an out of towner, but I want people to clearly understand that I lived in Lafayette, in that area, in the Tri Parish area, for 7 years. I still have family in the Tri Parish area. Um, I started my rap career in the Tri Parish area in Lafayette, Louisiana. So this like second home to me. I'm quiet. I don't when I'm moving around. I mean, people don't know who I am unless you know who I am. So my thing is I think when I showed up on the scene, the only thing I've tried to be is helpful. And I want to say this to the people in Lafayette and the surrounding areas. You don't have a clue who I am. You don't have a clue what I do. You don't know what I do. This ain't my first rodeo. But see what you're playing with. Do you know how fast Lafayette can go from being Lafayette, Louisiana, to being Minneapolis, Minnesota, where they burning down every goddamn thing? You can play the game of cat and mouse all you want, but at the end of the day, when it explodes, Carlos won't be able to stop it. Josh won't be able to stop it because that's where it's at right now. So out of towners, sometimes they're good people. Sometimes they're a great attribute to try to help the community. And that's my focus, to try and help the community. Now I'm gonna ask you, because I know you're getting a lot of hate on Facebook. You're getting a lot of love. I'm gonna tell you that you're a rock star right now. You're getting a lot of love, but of course you got a lot of hate, and a lot of people don't understand, and they don't want to label Lafayette, Louisiana, as a racist city. But the thing is that there's racism that exists in Lafayette, Louisiana. It's no question about it. I mean, unless I'm really from out of town and don't know, it's racial. As
All
you
you
said.
all you have to do, Mr. Jerry, is get on KATC or KLFY, Channel 10 and Channel 3, and read some of the comments from our local people. And you can read the hate. Some of the UL students had a protest yesterday, a quiet, peaceful protest for Trayford. The hateful, ignorant, racist comments talking about, oh, are they on scholarship? Take their scholarships away. Because a lot of them were black, young black men. Take their scholarship away. And saying god awful things. It's without the murder of Trayford Pellerin, people in certain situations, even with our fight to keep the recreational centers open, people really came out their box with the racial slurs and the anger and the threats. A number of our young leaders, even right now, because of their live feeds during the protests, they've had to bring in the FBI because of death threats. Like,
Wow.
it's something serious right now.
So I know a lot of people ain't gonna ask you the tough questions, but I'm gonna ask you the tough question. Why does a white lady give a damn about a dead man at a gas station?
Because my children are black. I have 5 black children. My children are 16, 22, 23, 26, 27, and the 26-year-old is the only boy with mental illness, manic depressive, and schizoaffective disorder. And sometimes he's a threat to himself and others. I have 3 black son-in-laws that I love dearly. I have 9 grandchildren that are black. 3 of them
Was
are
that
my
the son-in-law
grandsons.
today that they tried
Yes,
to accost because he had a concealed handgun license and he had his gun in his car,
yes,
and
sir.
he had to check him because he had his paperwork. He had his
And I'm the
paperwork.
one who brought him to the gun shop to get it, to make sure he done it legally. Yeah,
So here's a question: Are police shootings of African Americans, or police shootings in general, in Lafayette, Louisiana, is that new to the area?
no, I mean, police have shot and have killed African Americans. But what's new right now is the fact that this young man, our brother, Trayford Pellerin, walked point 0.5 miles, crossing over from one side of Evangeline Thruway to the other. The police following him in car, on foot, with a dog. And they said they tased him and it didn't affect him. But did you tase him the correct way? They waited until he got to a Circle K Shell station, reaching for the door before they fired their guns at him 11 times, shooting him in the back. His back was turned. And when I was arrested today and held at the city police department in an interview room or an interrogation room, all those hours when my community didn't know where I was, I asked, what about the dog? I figured I was going to use that time that I was attached to a wall to use it to be able to get some information. Why didn't y'all put the dog on him? And one of the lieutenants said, because our canine dogs are officers. And he had a knife on him, which we still don't know he had a knife. And if you look at the security, if you look at the viral video, it doesn't look like a knife. He had a cell phone in his hand. Anyway, they said that if they would have let the dog on him and he would have turned around and stabbed the dog, that would have been attempted murder or murder of a police officer. So y'all dog is more important than our sister's son that she has to bury. That dog is more important than our young brother. But yet, any other time, if you have a complaint, the cops come out and your dog is barking because he's trying to protect his owner. How many videos do we see when officers shoot and kill a dog in front of their owner? That a dog don't matter then. So what makes a police officer, including a canine dog's life, matter more than the people that they're supposed to protect and serve? What makes their life matter more than the people who pay their taxes to make sure these officers get their paychecks? Please tell me where that fine line is. Where does one life matter than the other, more than the other? That could have been my son. That could have been any one of yours sons, your grandson, your brother. But our brother was shot at least 11 times in the back. His back was turned. And the officers are trying to say he reached for the door. So now he became a threat to the people inside. When the video from someone that was stuck in traffic, that was over 50 feet away, recording it on her Facebook Live, clearly shows Trayford passing up two other people walking, a man putting gas in his vehicle at that Shell station. If he was a threat to anybody, why would he have walked up slowly, not running, but slowly to get to that Shell station? People that he knew, because he had been living in that motel room in back of that Shell station for at least 7 months. We believe he was trying to walk to safety.
Hold on a second. Are you still there, Tara?
I am.
Y'all, let's watch this, and then y'all tell me what you think. It was at right there at that moment
That it's a
where,
longer video than that.
yeah, I
Like
need to
more
get that
detail.
video. The thing is Telford never turned around when he opened the door.
He
So
didn't.
he never moved the knife in a threatening manner towards the officers. They can't say, and I don't know who's doing this investigation, and I really don't care, but I major in criminal justice. You can't say that the people in the store were targets, or that he would threaten them, because he never even had an opportunity to cross the threshold of the door to go into the store. And then you shoot him in the back. You shoot him in the back. See, this is what people don't get right now. People don't understand, those that want to be racial, got the attitudes, and even the people in government. Dude, when you get in a wreck and somebody hits you from the back, it's hard for them to ever say that they were in the right. How can you say we're in the right when you shot him in his back? You shot him in his back. And the crazy part is, I think someone was telling me a little while ago, there was an altercation with a white guy at a Waffle House, and it went kind of crazy. And from what I understand, I think the dude had a gun, but yet he made it home.
So this is what happened in Lafayette a few weeks ago. There was an older white man who led police on a high-speed chase from Broussard, Louisiana to Lafayette, Louisiana on the Evangeline Thruway. He had a weapon in his vehicle. He had a gun in his vehicle. He was riding in a stolen vehicle. There was well over an hour standoff at the corner of Evangeline Thruway and Willow Street, actually just slightly down the road where Trayford was shot and killed. And this man finally surrendered after putting many people's lives at risk just because he was in a vehicle on a high-speed chase.
So he was in a high-speed chase
from one town to the next.
And did he have a gun?
He had a gun in the vehicle.
But he made it home. But he made it. They didn't kill him.
But wait, no, but the police also made sure that he had a mental health examination before he went to jail. A few years ago, a white man, a few years ago, we had a young white man who shot and killed a white officer, Officer Middlebrook, and shot at other people, but he shot and killed the police officer. He was able to walk away also. The police didn't even shoot him.
So just like in the rest of America, the white guys make it home, the black ones make it to the morgue. And I see one of Telford's relatives,
Trayford.
Trayford, I'm sorry, Trayford. I'm bad with names.
It's okay.
I can't remember my name half the time. That's why I just named myself 5-star. Katrika Rochelle said that's her brother's first cousin. He had mental issues. And she said he didn't have a knife in his hand. He had a cell phone.
And I have looked at the video over and over again. I've done screenshots. I've blown them up. It doesn't look like a knife. It honestly looks like a cell phone. The knife situation came in from the passerby in her vehicle screaming, "Oh, he has a knife. He has a knife." It looks clearly like a cell phone. And when you watch his hands moving back and forth as he's walking to the door, it doesn't look like he has anything in his hands anymore.
Well, I tell you this here right now, and I'm going to ask you your opinion. It's just our opinion, y'all. In your opinion, if 4 black guys did the same thing to Telford, same exact thing,
the same thing to Trey
right now?
Oh yeah. If it was one black man who shot Trey and killed him, he'd be locked up in jail, and basically he'd be guilty until proven innocent.
But we know for a fact, if they would have shot Trey, if they were black, they'd have went to jail right there on the spot. Am I correct?
Right then and there, and not put on leave and getting paid.
This is where I get confused whether the state police are investigating or whomever is investigating. If we know that a black guy would have went to jail for shooting Trey like that, then why is it that the police We got to go through all this rigmarole with the police. See, that blue wall of silence exists where they protect these cops when they do these types of things. And now this is just demoralized the community, which the north side of Lafayette has been underserved for I know I
decades.
was here 25 years ago, but I lived here exclusively 25 years ago, and it was underserved 25 years ago. And till this day, they're still not treating the north side like they treat the rest of the city. And they don't understand why everybody's outraged. And over there looting, and man, let me tell you something. They wasn't looting before you shot it. They wasn't marching and protesting before you shot him. So now they're marching and protesting because you've not done anything about it. And I think that people in this parish, as well as the city of Lafayette, need to question, why are you paying your tax money? Do you guys have a district attorney?
We do.
Why is your tax money being used to pay the salary of the district attorney when the state police got to do what the district attorney should do? What's the purpose of a district attorney? Only to prosecute black people?
Good point.
You see what I'm saying? So I know that they're watching this, and y'all, even when they put you in the cuffs, and they were really nice to me. The lieutenant that was there, she was nice, but you scrutinized Gary Monroe. Gary Monroe is an angel in disguise. You don't have a clue. And that persona, folks coming from out of town, you ain't saw nobody come from out of town yet. You ain't saw what this thing can actually do. But if that's what you want, then keep doing what you do. I mean, to the point that we have emergency board meetings, and laws are just changing mysteriously where you can't stand 36 inches from the curb, or you're gonna be considered trespass. Look, man, you're doing too much, Josh. You and anybody that's voting on that foolishness is doing too much. You need to allow this community to mourn. You need to allow this community to exercise their constitutional right, which is to peacefully protest.
But can we speak?
Yeah,
look what he did yesterday. He signed an executive order starting from last night at 8 o'clock until September 11th at midnight, prohibiting any looting or public gatherings on the following streets: Evangeline Thruway, Lafayette Street, Congress, and actually it covers all of downtown. He named every single park that we have downtown. He prohibited any gatherings, and he used COVID-19 as an excuse. But what he did was he and it says that if you're caught in the green spaces, or at the parks or on these streets in large numbers, you will be fined up to $500 and or 6 months in jail. He's using COVID-19 as an excuse because on August 18th, I had already challenged him, if he really cared about the North Side, to come to one of those recreational centers and help paint and beautify them if we had to do it ourselves. He came out with over 20 people. I have pictures of him, and the newspaper has pictures of him standing in a group of people with no mask on, painting with no mask on. So basically what he's done, and that was one of the other reasons why I went to his house to have a barbecue today. You're doing it on purpose, using COVID-19 as an excuse to try to put in jail peaceful protesters. But you didn't have an issue with COVID-19 on August 18th. You didn't have an issue with masks and crowds before that whenever you said that you weren't going to enforce wearing a mask. So which one is it, Josh Guillory? He's trying to silence us. Our brother has not gotten the national attention that he deserves. No one deserves to be shot at in the back over and over and over again. No mother deserves to go 4 days without even knowing where her dead son's body is, because they refuse to give her that information. That mother wasn't able to see her dead son's body, to even kiss his forehead, to start her mourning process until late Tuesday evening. And he was shot and killed Friday.
Lord,
now, for people who don't understand our outrage, can you imagine if that was your son? Because it's not true. It's not real until you see that body.
Wow.
We have not gotten the officers' names yet. We don't have the officers involved pictures yet. And we damn sure don't have the information about how many complaints they've had against them in the past. But the Advocate ran a story a couple of days ago with Trayford's picture, the Acadian Advocate, and his criminal history, and criminalized this young man before his mama even got her son's body turned over to her.
You know what I would say to that? Because that's something that they always do. Who gives a damn about his criminal history? It wasn't in question when you shot him in his back.
And the last thing that they could dig up on him was from 2013.
So
but
for
that
7
only helped
years,
to cause even more racist, ignorant comments. God said the most important commandment is to love your neighbor as you love yourself. And people, you can't go to church on Sundays when they say to tell your neighbor, peace be with you. And it might be a black person next to you and you're telling them, peace be with you. And then you go home and you get on social media and you start calling my black community hoodlums and thugs and the N-word and all these other racial slurs and tell them to go back to Africa and all this other shit that is hypocritical.
I know you in a emotional state. Yeah, I'm gonna give you a bit of information, okay, and it'll make you feel a little bit better. You know, for those people that say for us to go back to Africa, at least we know where the fuck we from. Columbus was lost. When he found America, where the hell, he didn't even know where the hell he was from. He didn't know where he was going, he didn't know where he was from. At least we know where we from. But go ahead, finish.
Point. Ding, ding. But so the thing is, it's hypocritical. Stop being a hypocrite.
So is there a way to make Acadiana, because people don't realize that's what they call the area, Acadiana, and these Cajuns, we ain't gonna call them the other names we want to call them. We're gonna call them the Cajuns because you know how they act. I challenge Black America in Lafayette, Louisiana. If you want all the information that Tara is saying that they're withholding, don't spend a goddamn dollar in the city of Lafayette. Don't spend a dollar in the city of Lafayette. Take your money down the road. If you gotta go to New Iberia to get your gas, but don't spend a dollar in Lafayette. Now, you notice something, Tara. I didn't say you need to burn down the city, friends. I didn't say you need to throw bricks or attack cops. I didn't say that, did I?
Right.
All I said was don't spend your goddamn money in the city of Lafayette. See, when you take this, we need to go back to Africa. Make sure when we leave this motherfucker, we take our money with us. Don't spend your fucking money in the city of Lafayette. And I guarantee you, they'll come up with them goddamn arrests. I'm challenging everybody in Lafayette, Louisiana. Don't spend your goddamn money in Lafayette. If you're black, white, whatever, you support this cause and you stand for trade, don't spend no goddamn money in Lafayette.
Not just in the city of Lafayette, because we are a consolidated government.
Mm-hmm.
So don't spend it in Lafayette Parish.
Okay, I got
Go
you.
to another parish.
Where I come from. So don't spend your money in Lafayette Parish. Fuck them. See, because every now and then I get a little loose. I've been working on the cussing now. I've been trying. But every now and then I have a relapse. Fuck them. Don't spend shit. And more importantly, whenever Josh and all these leaders come up for re-election, get their ass out of office. Get their asses out of office. Racists do not need to represent parish, city, state, federal government.
We have a total of 10 council members, 5 for city, 5 for parish. Only our 3 black representatives have stood up. The other 7 are white, and they have stayed silent. They have not come to a protest. They haven't tried to get to a meeting table with our leaders to talk about how to start healing.
And you know what? That's what I get. That's what I get from you. That's what I get from the other people that I've spoken to since I've been here. Is you just want the community to heal. You just want the community to heal. But how can it heal when the head person in charge will not even acknowledge the family? Now, where I'm Houston, where I'm from, where I'm back and forth to, at least I can say, and I don't agree with the mayor of Houston on a lot of things, but at least I can say he will pick up that phone himself and he will call the grieving family. When you have a clown like what you have that has zero respect for a grieving family, no matter what color they are, you got the wrong representation.
He is, and I've called him on it several times during city and parish council meetings. You are racially insensitive. I challenge you to walk with us in the community and get to know us. And then maybe you can learn that the things that you say or what you do, how much it hurts my community. And look what he's done since Trayford has been killed. He's not understanding.
No, he understands. He's operating in his clear mind frame.
He has the I don't wants. That's his problem. He don't want to. He don't want to put in the energy. We don't have money like his friends have money. We can't do nothing for him like his white Republican friends can do for him. And he is supposed to be a leader. He is supposed to be the head of Lafayette Parish. And if you cannot lead fair, equal, and balanced, you have no business being a leader.
What would it take to recall
it? I've already sent the paperwork. I got some paperwork from the Secretary of State. We're organizing to be able to get the signatures to recall him. But to do that, we also have to have a certain amount of registered voters. It has to go through the governor. Then we actually have to have a date where people vote to have him recalled. But there, and this is where we go with, it's important for my community to register to vote and to go out and vote.
I would tell this man this. You've dealt with a lot of things, but you ain't dealt with this in today's climate. You're not prepared for what could happen. I've been in Tulsa. I've been in Houston. I've been in Minneapolis. I've watched them burn Minneapolis to the ground. The one thing I know, Josh, you can kick that old dog on that porch so many times. And a lot of days you kick him, he ain't gonna move. But you're gonna kick him one too many goddamn times. Now I want to say this to you as well as everybody from that area that's listening. And I'm gonna ask you, because maybe you know, why did the LA riots happen? You remember the LA riots in
I do.
1994? Why did that happen?
Because people wanted transparency and accountability and they weren't getting it.
You know what? You're the first person in 5 years that ever got that question right. And bottom line, people think that the riots happened because they beat Rodney King. That is not true. The riots happened because them people got tired of this shit. And that's what's happening all around the country. People are getting tired of these police shootings. And Josh, you ain't seen your city the way it's gonna be if you don't get some goddamn act right. If you can pick up the phone and call Carlos to get him out the way and get this lady wrongfully arrested, you can pick up that phone and call your DA and tell him you have probable cause to arrest these officers because you actually have probable cause. I applaud you. I done walked the walk with a many people. But young lady, you stronger than I done seen and I done been everywhere. And the only thing I can tell you is keep pushing. As long as I'm here, I'm gonna rock with you. Gonna get on with you. I want them to understand that go on and look, man. If you're gonna take Gary Monroe to jail, go and get the shit over with. Just get me down there before they stop feeding motherfuckers. Cause I'm not scared to go. But you're gonna have to put something on me that's real. Because one, I ain't gonna violate the law. But I know how to make your ass uncomfortable without violating one law. But it don't have to get to that point. Why is this man not coming to that side of town and acknowledging that side of town, and they're hurting right now? Because a racist ain't gonna do that. I'm calling him out. A racist city leader ain't gonna do it. But a person who's a leader, who would really be concerned about the welfare, the mental stability of that side of town, would have been there the next day. But see, Josh, you're letting your testosterone run this right now.
You see, the thing is that Carlos and Josh think because they went out the Friday night when Trayford was killed and they got behind the state police for their photo op, that was enough. They didn't speak. They didn't say anything that night. The next night after we did protesting, and some of my community, they shot rubber bullets and they either gas them or put like these smoke bombs. They waited to after the sheriff's department waited to after the sun went down to do this. And then there was a press conference. Our mayor made sure that it was private, and all, including myself, all our leaders and activists were kicked out of the police department, had to wait outside because Josh didn't want to face us. He wanted a private press conference.
You're a punk.
Just like today, he called the police on me. I mean,
On a little lady with a barbecue pit.
but I am the petty one, and he knows I'm going to call him out.
And you should keep calling them out.
I will. Now,
Keep
I can't
calling
go
them
to his
out.
house no more because that was a part of my cash bond. So, but I'm not planning on going back by his house. I'm not planning to even hurt him. My thing was I needed him to feel uncomfortable. I needed him to feel uncomfortable the way we feel uncomfortable on the north side of town. But at the same time, usually when you offer food, it helps to open up the dialogue. You eat, you talk, you socialize. That was awful. That was also my offering. Carlos knew it also. So it is
I
what it
heard
is,
today.
and I ain't gonna stop.
I heard today, and I want you to elaborate on it. You referred to Carlos as Judas.
Judas Jr.
Judas Jr. Why would you call him Judas Jr.?
Because Judas turned his back on Jesus for silver. Carlos Harvin, a pastor here, a black man, chief of minority affairs, has turned his back on the north side of town for a $50,000 yearly salary with an extra $10,000 needing to be approved September 10th on our budget. He's getting a $10,000 a year raise for less than 9 months of work. And he hasn't even done the work that his job description says. He turned his back on us, the black community, the lower income community, the north side, for $60,000. I call him Judas Jr.
I tell you what, I got two co-hosts, and they not here tonight. I'd love to invite you back Monday when we do the actual show. A broader audience, the national audience, and bring you on Monday at 7 o'clock Central Time if that's cool with you. And
That would be wonderful.
I'm gonna see if I can get some more community leaders to pop in with you because we need to hear from the Lafayette Parish community in regards to making sure that Trey gets the justice that he rightfully deserves. And I think since I got a little time on my hand, I'm gonna go and I'm gonna make some phone calls Monday because I think it might be time to file a federal lawsuit for violation of our constitutional rights for freedom of protest. Because you
Thank you.
can't just tell us that we cannot protest. And those that know me know that I ain't got no problem filing no federal lawsuits. And I'd love to take them in the federal court for a reason. Because them old federal judges, whether they white or black, they believe in the Constitution. And Josh, right now, you in violation of the Constitution. I know what you're doing. You're trying to suppress their voice by your bully tactics. But the only thing I can tell you is you have time to fix this. Because if you don't fix it, I'm gonna seem like a choir boy compared to these suckers that's gonna show up in your city. You don't want it. You
And
don't want it.
I love my city. The good, the bad, and the ugly of it all. I love my city. I love my community. And that is not what I want Lafayette to be about. I do not want destruction. I don't
So
want any of that.
tell the
But
people,
Josh, you gotta fix it.
tell the
Use your
people,
power.
tell the people. I ain't mean to cut you off because I got excited when I heard you say it earlier. Tell the people who put up the money to get you out today.
His name is Bryson Bernard. He goes by the stage name of Cupid. He's a local guy here. He's a musician, the Cupid Shuffle. But
Cupid put up the money to get you out. Man, that's beautiful.
yeah,
That. And I just had it on the show
Chris.
about a month ago.
He called Chris and he said, Chris, no matter what it is, I got her back. And he made sure that Chris had the money, and my brother with Unity 7, Chris Unity Bernard, came and did the cash bond and signed the paperwork to get me out. At the same time, my community got together and started going to the Unity 7 GoFundMe to make sure that I got out of jail. Not Miss T. My community knows my heart. My community knows that I stand with them. Those are my brothers and sisters. Skin color does not make me any less of their family or make them any less of my family. We are all people at the end of the day. And my community today, I want to say I love y'all. Thank you for having my back. And if one thing can come out today that's positive, is that Trayford's name has been heard a lot today and will continue being heard. Continue saying his name, Trayford Pellerin, our brother, our son.
I applaud you. I look forward to you sitting down with me and Demetra and Donovan Monday. Same thing. We'll send you the link, and we start at 7. So between 6:30, 7 o'clock, pop in. We'll be in the back room, and we're gonna have a real detailed discussion on this Monday. Keep Trey's family in y'all prayers out there, and Lafayette Parish. It's just time to stand up. It's just time to stand up. Know one thing: if you an African American, if you don't think it's time to stand up, the next time you go to your favorite restaurant, go get your food through the back door. Because somebody stood up for you to be able to go through the front door. Somebody got beat up at a lunch counter for you to be able to sit in your favorite restaurant and eat the food that you want. For all of you that's in these interracial relationships, somebody stood up, man. And it's just time. It's just time. But I can tell you this here. We don't want no smoke. We don't want to tear up Lafayette. We don't want people to be uncomfortable in Lafayette. But I'd be damned if we continue to be silent because another African American is on the ground. So anything that I can do for the north side of Lafayette, God damn it, let's get it done. And I applaud you, my sister. And like you did today, just call me. I ain't gonna let you be out there by yourself. I ain't gonna, and you have an attribute about you that I've never had. I had you laughing earlier. 8 years, and I keep saying I will never be a revolutionary until I go to jail. And you went before me.
And I ain't never been to jail before. I have no criminal record. But I'll go and I'll take that charge for some good trouble for my community.
Goddamn right. All right, girl, I ain't gonna hold you, but I look forward to talking to you. We gonna talk tomorrow anyway. And we're gonna get
my brother.
No problem.
I appreciate you.
All right.
All righty, bye-bye.